We on? Yeah.
Yep. About this popping on right now.
I think we on.
All right, we on.
Oh, we lost Doc. Oh no, he there. We lost Clarence. All right. Hey, we on? Yeah.
Yep. About this popping on right now. All right, we live. I tagged everybody. If y'all want to tag any additional people, go right ahead. Give you a few seconds to get going.
Mom, guess what?
Give you a few seconds to get going. All right, we good. We on.
Guess what?
Your notification.
All right, we all ready? Everybody good?
Yes.
All right.
Let's go.
Let's get it. Hey, I'd like to welcome everybody to the ManUP Series, where we talk about topics, relatable topics that you can relate to. We got a good guest on the show today. We go way back to football days with Scott. Dr. Carnell Smith. He's the current principal right now at Jessup W. Scott High School. Visionary, great man, ex-pro football player, and one of my mentors that I look up to. So I would like to welcome everybody, Dr. Carnell Smith.
Thank you, fellas. I appreciate you guys having me on and commend what you're doing, the great conversation, the dialogue, which is needed, and we all grow through it. So I appreciate what you're doing and happy and honored that you asked me to.
Definitely.
But we want to touch on the topic tonight about education. All right. I know a lot of people might get satisfied with where they're at educational wise, but people every day is a learning experience, and every day is unique. No day is the same. So learning is constant. It doesn't stop and it won't stop. So I just want to get in, we want to talk about tonight, but first, give us a background, Dr. Smith, on, how you got started with education, coaching, football. Give us a brief background.
Okay.
You started, like where you started.
All right. Brief orientation of myself. Born and raised here in Toledo, Ohio. Attended Washington Elementary, Lincoln, Washington, Robinson. Proud graduate, 1985 of Scott High School. Played ball, both basketball and football while attending Scott High School. Was a blue chip recruit in high school, so I was highly recruited. And so I had a pretty significant amount of Division I offers. And so my 5 choices came down to North Carolina, Michigan State, Ohio State, University of Toledo, and of course, the University of Pittsburgh that I chose, and attended there. Graduated in 4 years with a bachelor's degree in criminal law. Was drafted by the Colts, and this was way back when they had 12 rounds. So I was drafted in the 11th round. I was the 290th player taken in the draft. So after the Colts, I played over in London, England, in the World Football League for a couple of years. Got into corporate America and found my niche into education and coaching. And I've been in education now for 20 years.
Awesome. What a track, man.
Yeah, man, that's good.
We are blessed to have you here with us.
Pleasure to be here, fellas. But you guys wanted to talk about education, and I'm a firm believer that education is the foundation of one's life. I mean, and people hear me echo this all the time. I don't care what anyone says, but education has liberated more people than any wars, any treaties or anything. It's been education, and education has been a vehicle, so to speak, to allow us to advance. And that's whether you're going to college or whether you decide to pursue a career. And so at Toledo Public Schools, our mission is to make sure that our kids are both career and college ready. And so we take that very seriously. And it comes with the process. And educating children, especially today in the 21st century, is a very, very, very delicate process. So therefore, you got to have pieces in place in order to be able to provide a quality education. So, and what I mean by pieces, I mean we got to have programming in place to be able to address a lot of the issues that our kids may have, just so we can ensure that we provide a quality education for them.
Definitely. So, Dr. Smith, can you tell us a little bit about? I know you talked about teaching in the 21st century and educating. So you're in charge of an entire school program. So how have you been dealing with this period in education during COVID-19?
Well, it's a lot of uncertainties.
Yep.
There's a lot of uncertainties with this, and but what I have been trying to do is to stay updated. I have been educating myself, following the world news, CNN news. I've been reading a lot of different publications, and I have also other friends around the country who are in education. So I'm constantly talking with them to see what their plans are. And not to mention that, but I'm in constant conversation with my administrators, and we're ready to make adjustments. So with this COVID, with all the uncertainties going around with it, we have to focus on the things that we can control. And the biggest thing we can control with this, doing with the uncertainties, is our attitude. So we got to remain flexible. I know, as everyone knows, we're coming back to TPS. We're scheduled to report but in phase 2, which is the yellow, which is the AB plan, where the kids, I think, will come to school twice a week, and we will do virtual learning on once a week. So that's where we are right now. Is it an ideal situation? No. Do we need to have kids in front of us 5 days out of the week? Yes, we do, but it's not ideal. So what we have to do as educators, we have to be flexible. We got to be able to make adjustments and not allow this COVID to be an excuse for us not to achieve our goals. So despite these obstacles in our way, my expectations are still high for our children and for our staff.
I want to ask a question, Dr. Smith, and I appreciate that, man. I really do. Right now with COVID being what it is, like you said, a lot of uncertainties. We're living in unprecedented, unparalleled times right now. How are we transitioning back with the idea of having conversation with the student virtually? When we speak of virtually, it might be blended classes, some in class, on campus, and some actually online. The concern I have is for students that might not be able to afford the technology, the iPads, the Chromebooks. Obviously, I know TPS, they provide Chromebooks, but I was curious to know, is there a grant? Now, is there a grant for students that because they might get the Chromebooks, but then the other concern might be those that might be lacking the Wi-Fi. Mm-hmm. And so if we're going to be everything, I know we can't be everything to everybody, but we do want to be able to present ourselves available as a resource. And that, I know that's going to be very tough. Mm-hmm. You're probably like, Chris, we really are trying to put
No, Chris, that's a great question. In fact, our district has already began to address those needs. So back in April, Chromebooks distribution went out to kids who are on APEX. APEX is our credit recovery program. So those went out to those youngsters. And also the Chromebooks went to our AP students. That's our advanced placement students throughout the district. Now, what's going to happen now is that every household will have a computer, and we're looking at having a one-to-one computer. Now, as far as Wi-Fi, I think it was back in March or maybe April, the district, we have several buses around the city with Wi-Fi in those buses. So those kids in those different communities can have access to the Wi-Fi. And this is something that I've been following that's going on around the country in a lot of urban areas where districts are providing Wi-Fi on the buses. So
That's good.
we're meeting this as best as we can. We're going to be having professional development for our teachers to make sure that we are properly using online teaching and the strategies. We're in professional development. In fact, last week I was in a professional development. And so it's an opportunity to get better. We just got to continue to find ways. So I tell our staff here all the time, like, you know, what we have to do is not in a book. We're writing this book as we go along. That's why it's important that we collaborate a lot, and we look at things scientifically, and we let our data guide us in our decision making for our kids. So it's a very delicate process. Great question, and that's the direction in which we're going to right now.
And real quick, a follow up to that. I know. I'm curious to know: are you guys benchmarking other school districts around the country that are doing the exact same thing? And they've been. Do you have like some type of consortium or a consortium of other school districts, or around the country that you guys have conversations on, like the nation's best practices to bring back to implement here to the Toledo area? Are you guys doing all that with the kind of consortiums and things like that?
Well, we're doing it individually as far as building, and also we talk about this. I'm in a cohort or a leadership cohort, and it's called the OLI 4, and it's a cohort for principals. So, and it's a 2-year program. So with this, I have a lot of colleagues who we've done professional development, and we have a lot of conversation. We bounce a lot of ideas off of each other. But the thing is, it is difficult to plan and put things in actions when you don't have all the information. And so we have information. So you even talked about reaching out to kids right now, like online. I mean, we've had conversations with our kids, especially our seniors, with our seniors, but it's centered a lot around graduation and getting ready for college. But a lot of things we cannot just put information out there when we don't know things for certain. So that's when rumors start. That's when the anxiety rise, and then you put information out, and then you have to change, because we get valid information on a regular basis, but yet that changes all the time too. So the last thing you want to do is just put information out just off of a guess or something like that.
Thank you. That was good. Thank you. Thank you.
Well,
Definitely. And then I know this is a transition for a lot of parents. This is something new, and being home with your kids and having to help them with the, educating them, staying on them with, doing their classwork, and then hell, with some of the parents, they got to educate themselves too, trying to figure out, how to actually teach it to the kids. So
right.
What type of encouragement would you give to the parents that are, we're all going through? What would you tell the parents right now just to give them encouragement?
I would tell them not to get discouraged, and I would recommend that they get involved. And this is a precedent time where parents should have and teachers should be having even more dialogue, exchange of contact information. Also, we're going to be looking at possibly providing training to parents for like Google Classroom to assist them in helping their child also. But trust and believe, our youngsters are very efficient with using the Chromebooks and the electronics. I mean, they can teach us all some things.
Definitely.
That's good.
Clarence, it looked like did you want to say something?
Clarence got something.
No, I'm because being in part of the school, like he was saying, there is a lot of changes that's taking place. And even for next year, trying to, as a teacher, or a teacher assistant trying to really figure out is people that are watching maybe like paras or like a second teacher in the classroom, where do their job lie in the gap with these switches and changes? I know that can be a very big question right now. What would you say to people teach like paras in the classroom?
Well, you know what? Hey, Clarence, once again, it's a lot of uncertainties. And here's the reason why. Parents have the options of having their kids to do strictly online 100%, right? So
Yeah.
depending on how many kids are online learning, that's going to determine the staffing in the building, as with the paras and also with the teachers as well in the building. That's going to determine a lot of deals. As of now, to my understanding, the paras will still be in the classroom. It's still a part of the learning and educational process. I don't see it changing. My concern comes to some of our paras, not just paras, but teachers and other staff members who may be up in age and may have underlying condition, pre-existing conditions. So those are my biggest concern. But right now, to my understanding, paras and everyone else will be back together.
Okay, nice, thank you.
Hey, Dr. Smith, you know, I know, you know, to all of us on here, education has been very instrumental in our lives. It's provided a lot of options for us. But, you know, we talk about how things have, we talked the other day about, you know, some things that have changed over time.
Right.
You know, what are some things that you see maybe that the, you know, our education system and some things that you are probably that you are challenged with and looking to improve. What are some areas that you think needs to catch up maybe with our kids these days and help them learn in a different environment, because our kids are different now, right? They're coming up in a different time. What are some things that you see that need to be included, whether it be curriculum, you know, and I'll ask another question after that, but what are some things that you see are some of those challenges that the educational system as a whole needs to step up to the plate?
Some challenges as far as what we have as far as with education?
Yeah, yep.
Well, resources.
Okay.
We definitely need resources. And that comes financially, that comes with people. I would say the biggest thing is resources, because what happens is this. Part of my job I view is that I must remove the obstacles out of our children's way that's going to prevent them from learning. So whatever that may be. So if they haven't eaten, we need to feed them. If they need to go to the doctor, now we have a health center, a full-time health center inside our building with a full-time nurse practitioner, full-time nurse, full-time behavioral health specialist, and a full-time receptionist right there inside of our building to help meet our kids' needs. We also have a hub director, Mr. Joe Peterson. He provides resources. He connects our parents and our students with resources in the community to meet their needs. So my biggest thing is removing obstacles out of their way that's going to prevent them from learning. Removing obstacles out of the teacher's way that's going to prevent them from teaching. Now, when it comes to education as a whole, man, I'm going to look you all right in the face and I'm going to tell you that at the end of the day, I don't know what I'm preparing our kids for in the future, right? And I'm not ashamed to say that, because as I look at this thing scientifically, things are changing so much and it's changing so rapidly. I read a study some years ago. They were saying, like, if you go into college and you're in your major by your junior year, by the time you graduated, the things that you learned is already outdated. I can recall I was doing some research 10 years ago, and there was Sony had put a video out, and they indicated that the top 10 jobs in 2010 did not exist in 2004. The top 10 jobs in the world did not even exist in 2004. So I asked the question, so where did these jobs come from? Somebody had to create these jobs. So I'm convinced that people created them. Did they learn something new? Yeah, they probably did. They had to learn something new, but they could not have learned anything new if their foundation, their educational foundation is not sound. So you build on that. So my thing is at Scott High School, if we focus on, we want to make sure that our kids got a sound foundation, and then you can build upon that. So we can have our basics and our fundamentals together. After that, then a creative mind will create. And we have some brilliant kids, and I've seen them do some magnificent things, create some things, you know, whether it's poetry, art, lyrics, what have you, writing. I mean, we have some amazing kids. So what our job is to do is to cultivate that and make sure that structurally, educational, from a structural standpoint, that that's sound. And so if that's sound, then they can build on that. So for example, you can take Scott High School, for example. That building was erected in 1913. Great foundation. In fact, people who comes in there, that today they say they don't even make them like this anymore. I mean, you can't even afford those type of materials. But when that building was first created, that wasn't a part of there. But because of the foundation of the school was great, they added that foundation of the field house. Okay, 1955. Okay, the foundation was good. They added a skill center in 1976. Great foundation. We added a cafeteria in 98. All because of the foundation of what we laying this on is good. So I say, once again, I don't know what I'm preparing kids for, but I know I got to get their foundation together. And then once their foundation is together, then they can grow. They'll grow that, and they'll be ready, and they'll be able to add to that. So we know we cannot do subtractions till we learn to do additions. You know, we have to do multiplications before we learn to do division. So it all adds. We got to build on that foundation.
I appreciate that, and I know that I was talking to somebody today, and they said, in the storm, a lot of people have vision in the storm. A lot of people have erected new businesses in the storm right now during COVID, during these unparalleled times. People are actually thinking of creative new ideas. My question for you, Dr. Smith, as it relates to pedagogy or curriculum and the rigor of the curriculum, do you think adding the component of going a lot online, is it going to add to or take away from the rigor of the curriculum that's going to be out there, like the toughness of it? Will it take away from it, or will it add to that experience for the kids?
So when we talk about rigor, it's like how a lot of people look at rigor like what you just said. They looked at rigor as being tough, and I don't look at rigor as being tough. I look at rigor as being able to get a youngster to think creatively, to collaborate, to differentiate our instructions, to scaffold those instructions. So those are the type of things that are rigor that we put into it. But as far as this, time will tell, because this is an opportunity to get better. And so I choose to look and find the silver lining in this right here. So this is an opportunity to improve. So once we get through this, and we'll get through this, there's no doubt, we'll get through this. So when we get through this, maybe now we become efficient enough when we have a calamity day, maybe we can work with our kids then. And so maybe a day is not lost, right? So something good is going to come out of this. Now, as far as the rigor being deeper, I don't think the rigor, when we talking about youngsters, kids, the rigor definitely, I don't personally believe that the rigor can be as in depth online as it could be in person because of that personal human touch, you know, and the expectations and everything. However, I can't, as a leader, I can't sit in my mind and make excuses or have smaller expectations for myself, because I know I've been around too long. I know that's exactly what I'll get. And that's not what I want.
Good answer. Thank you, man. Thank you.
That's great.
Definitely. But let's talk more about us as parents, us as adults, us. We're all educated men on this ManUP series, and us also, talking about how are we improving ourselves. self-education, you know, because like I said, education doesn't stop at all, period, point blank. And I want to ask each one of the fellas on here, what would you tell a person that's, you know, maybe like, you know, I don't know what my next step is, I don't know where I'm going, you know, kind of stuck. What would you tell a person to help them educate themselves to figure out what their next move is?
Well, first I want to know what you're passionate about. What do you like? You know, and that starts with a conversation. And the people I mentor, both youth, adolescents, and adults, I'm a person who likes to journal. I write and I journal. And I write down my goals. I write down notes. I'm constantly writing in meetings. I journal a lot. So I would tell you to journal and put down your goals, your dreams, and I don't care how far-fetched they may seem. All right. And so then at this point in time, and I've done this many times with young men, I'll sit down with them and we'll work a plan. And we'll just write this plan into bullets, right? We'll put it on the refrigerator or they can put it in their room or whatever. And as they check something up, they may, you know, give me a call or what have you, or if they have issues, but it's a conversation. So when someone don't really have any directions on what they want to do right now, that's okay. That's okay. But what I want to focus on is what their passions are. What do they like to do? What do they talk about? What would they do for free? What would they like doing on their spare time? And then we'll start from there.
Definitely.
Nice.
Yeah, those are some great points, Doc. I think, and I was gonna lead with that as well. You know, what are your passions? But I think adding to that, also, I kind of liken it to when your kid is growing up and you know, they're trying to figure out what sport or what instrument they like or what do they like to do.
Yeah.
You expose them to, you know, like I did, Mike, I'll use myself as an example. For my kids, I expose them to different athletic things, musical things, and I let them see, okay, this is in my wheelhouse. I'm pretty good at this. I like to do this. But also that exposure lets them see that there are options out there.
Absolutely.
And then so they start to gravitate towards another place. So even in life, you know, and I thank my mom, you know, she exposed me to a lot of things when I was younger. Did I understand it? Did I want to go? No.
Right. Right.
And that's why I thank you for your leadership, Dr. Smith, because when I look at you on Facebook and I see a lot of stuff that you do for the kids, man, and you expose those kids to so much stuff, do they always understand it? Are they ready for it all the time? Probably not. But for them to just be exposed to that, you might spark a fire in a kid, you know? And I think that's very important for us as parents, as leaders in the community. You know, if you don't have kids, you know, there's someone that I know you touch, you know, somebody's home where there's a kid, and help to expose that kid to different things. And I think that helps a child to find their way. You know what I mean?
Yes, it does. And the thing is that I always talk about it's like planting seeds. We're planting seeds at Scott.
Yes, sir.
At Scott High School. And so I compare our situation to a garden. And so when I first got there were so many things we had to get into place, so many changes we had to go through as a building. I had to go and grow. And it wasn't pretty. It wasn't a lot of situations. But I think we've turned it around. And so if you look at it like a garden, and this is what I explain to people on a national level or whether I'm locally, I explain it to them. So if you ever built a garden or did a community garden or what have you, first thing you got to do is go and clean out the junk out of there. Grass, you go through, you cut the grass, then you come through with your tractor, then you tilt the ground, you go back, you take out big bricks, bottles and things like that, then you make your rows. Then you start planting seeds. This is where we are at Scott High School right now. We're planting seeds. And what I remind my staff of is that if you, and they are working, I promise you, we are working extremely hard. So what I remind my staff is we're not to the hard part yet. So the hard part, if anybody know anything about a garden, the hard part is the weeding part. So once we start growing and getting the weeds out and maintaining this thing and excelling. So that's where we are right now. And with our kids, we plant seeds. And some kids get it right now, and some will get it later. But we just have faith that they're going to catch on to it at some point in time. And so it's the exposure is truly important. We do college trips constantly at Scott High School through AVID. And also we have two of the young ladies, Trevor Black and Linda Collins, who does the Black College Tour, along with Miss Patty. So we're constantly looking for new and innovative ways to expose our kids. I mean, we look at our special education, our special ed population, as we're exposing them to work experience through this program called Option 4, where they can go and get hands-on work experience for the future. So we're constantly trying to expose our children.
Dr. Smith, do you also utilize your alumni as like mentors? I'm sure you do. And so since you do, can you touch on your alumni that you have? I know Scott has a huge alumni base. And I'm just curious to know how you utilize them in the mentorship area. I know you do tours of high schools because your guidance counselors do all that. I know all that. But how do you utilize that huge population? I mean, I have no idea how big the alumni base is of Scott. It's all over the world. I'm curious to know how do you utilize that?
Yeah. Hey, our alumni association is sweet. I'm gonna tell you, Miss A.V. Dixon and Zara Collins, they're the alumni president and vice president, I think. So they do a magnificent job, do a great job of supporting Scott High School, our mission and our vision. Now, as far as mentoring, that is like really in my wheelhouse, and that's what my research study is on, is mentoring. And we do have a mentoring program at Scott High School called the Bulldog Educational Mentoring Program, and it's for our seniors. And those seniors can get a mentor if they feel as though they're struggling with graduation, or if we see a kid who may need some support, we allow them to get a mentor. But the difference with our mentoring program, we do not assign mentors to mentees. That's the formal mentoring way. We do the natural mentoring way, which my study focuses on, where we allow our mentees to choose our mentors, their mentors. Therefore, we have very little turnover. So there's three things that we focus on right away with those youngsters. Well, first of all, how you choose your mentor is that we do it like a draft. Each kid come in and we give them a raffle ticket, put the other half in a hat. I went to my staff, all hands on deck. I cannot pay you, but I need you to volunteer to serve as a mentor. If you can only mentor one kid, that's fine. If you could take three, that's fine. So what we did, we had all of the teachers' name and pictures, everybody up there, whether it's an administrator, custodian, school resource officers, everybody participate as mentors. It's a voluntary thing. And so these kids, we pull a name out of the hat and the kid choose the mentor that they want. So let's say Brandon says, well, I'm only available to take one kid. A kid pull them, and then another kid may want them and say, well, Mr. Foster said he only taking one kid. Well, you need to go talk to Mr. Foster to see if he'll take another kid. And so what we do is, because we see these kids 5 days out of the week, these are informal relationships, all right? These are informal relationships. So we're having informal conversations, but as the mentors, we are conscious and we're intentional with our actions and with our words to make sure that we're motivating, uplifting, and most of all, holding our kids accountable to make sure that they're graduating. And I am convinced that this has been a great positive for our kids for graduating, because what we do is three things. We ask the kid first and foremost, why did you choose me as your mentor? All right, we'll write that down. Second question is, what do you expect out of this relationship? We'll write that down. And then as the mentor, I let those youngsters know what I expect out of the relationship, because this relationship is reciprocal. And I'm going to grow as an adult, as a mentor, So, and I'm going to get better too. So I lay out what I expect out of the relationship as well. And so with that, we got to give them space to grow. So.
Yeah, that's good. I think that's real good because I was into a lot of mentoring programs, and that's how I actually got myself into the school. I was at a part of a mentoring program at Robinson, and we dealt with a lot of kids that dealt with trauma, you know, from home and things of that nature. Instead of kicking the kids out of the building or, you know, writing them up for 10 days or whatever the case may be, our job was to get to the core, get to the root of the issue. And we had a team, you know, and we moved, you know, through the building and built amazing relationships with these young men and young women. You know, we had, I didn't really deal with the young women, you know, I deal with the young men. So basically, like this, like you said, clarity, you know, helping them think clearer, really having them, like I told a young man, you know your triggers, man. Like, know what makes you tick. And we had those kind of dialogues. So that's how I actually got into the school, and the passion and the drive to mentor young men and young women in the schools and help them see that you don't have to be like this. It's you really have options.
Right.
So I think what you're doing is really amazing, you know.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Clarence. See, the thing is about mentoring, and I was having this conversation yesterday with one of my good friends and colleagues who's working on his dissertation in mentoring. And I was having this conversation where a lot of mentors, where they burn out and things like that, because a lot of time they put so much pressure on themselves because they think, okay, when I'm with this mentee, we gotta be doing something like super super fun type of stuff. Like I gotta be taking them to a ball game, or I gotta be taking them to the park, I gotta be taking them to the movies, or taking them out to eat. No. That's not the relationship. The relationship is including them into your life. So something for me, years ago, when I was an assistant principal at Horizon Science Academy, I had a mentoring program in the building. And sometimes what we did, we gave the kids a lot of exposure. Went to the NFL Football Hall of Fame. We went to the African American Art Museum, Pittsfield, different things like that, sleepovers. But some kids needed some individual attention. So through the mentor, so let's say, for example, this weekend, Saturday's coming up, I may call Clarence, or call your peoples and say, hey, is Clarence doing anything Saturday? Nope. All right, tell him I'll be ready at 10. I'm coming to pick him up. And I just come pick you up, Clarence. I'm running errands all day. And through those errands, we're having conversations. We're going to the balls. We getting the oil change, you know, tires rotated. You know, we're doing things. But in between that time, that's when the conversation begins. So that's the time spent. And that's as naturally and as informal as you can get. Have lunch, 2, 3 o'clock, the kid back at home. But we've built a better relationship. And that's what it is. It's about relationship. And it's an author, Dr. Lynn Betts. She talks about the 3 R's, which is receiving, responding, and remaining. You receive a person where they are, you respond to their needs, and you're committed. You remain there for a while.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's good.
That looks real good, man. You've been sharing some nuggets tonight, and that's so great because a lot of people don't talk about that piece of education, the mentorship part, because that is a part of it. You know, those are those things that like we talk about, unspoken kind of rules we put in place, or that's where you learn some things and you educate yourself about, oh, okay, this is how a man carries himself, you know, a black man.
Absolutely.
You know, and I don't have to do certain things. I see, I'm looking at him and he's doing certain things that I need to step up to. And that's encouraging to those young people. And even but like we talked about the other day, right?
Right.
Even as adults.
Absolutely.
You got mentors, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So we still learn.
Because we all need mentors.
Right.
And as we were saying the other day, we was talking about the children and and someone said tonight how the children change. Me personally, I don't think children change so much over the years as opposed to the adults change. And the head coach, I can't think of his name, for South Carolina, he said it so well. He said it so well. He said kids come in this world knowing nothing.
Right.
Everything they learn is from us, right? And so it's not kids who've changed, it's us adults who have changed, right? And so our kids are just they just sometimes too soon they just see too much, exposed to too much negativity too soon. And so there's nothing off limits. It's like everything is like wide open, especially with the access of social media. But us as adults collectively, we have to do better. And that's when we talk about kids change. But as far as the mentoring aspect of it, Scott High School is a mentoring school. We don't just mentor our kids, we mentor the adults too. We mentor and we help and coach each other. I mean, we are one of the most requested schools for teachers to come in to student teach. We're constantly, because our teachers do a magnificent job with us. We have a lot of administrators who are in TPS cohort come to our school to be mentored by a lot of our administrators and stuff. And so guess what? I'm being mentored as well too by other administrators in the district, and I'm conscious of it. And I understand what the relationship is, right? Because these relationships is that I chose these people. I chose these people, and I let them know, yeah, you're my mentor, and so this is what I do. So yeah.
And definitely you being one of, you was my coach, coach you, Coach Matt, Coach T, y'all were our mentor tours coaches, man. Y'all broaden our mind on the possibility of where we can go. You got to think we're from Toledo, born in Toledo, probably never went nowhere outside of Toledo.
Right.
And for us being around y'all, we actually got a chance to see that, we can go up here and we can play college ball. We can play pro ball.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Just because y'all told us, and then but not that y'all even told us, y'all even like showed us the work you need to put in order to get there, that it's not going to be easy. You're going to have your days where you don't want to show up. You're going to have your days where you feel like doing nothing. But y'all told us, and y'all always preached to us that hard work is going to be, you're going to work hard for the rest of your life,
Embrace it.
Yeah.
Embrace it.
Definitely.
Embrace it. Yeah, but you guys were, a lot of you guys were like very coachable. And what attracted me to your guys' intellect and not just off the field, but I'm just talking about your high football IQ. You guys caught on to a lot of things. But as far as being able to assist it with exposure, I was extremely blessed. I'm still blessed, but I have been extremely blessed. And it was when I became a coach, it was an obligation for me to be able to assist you guys, especially like when you start sharing your dreams and aspirations on what you want to do and what you want to become. Then I have an obligation to get those resources in the place or put you in a situation, right, where you can go and obtain those goals. And fortunately for myself and Coach Townsend and several other coaches that we were able to experience that level of play on the next level of college football and a little bit beyond. So with that, we brought that back. It's like, look, this is the blueprint, and this is what you're gonna have to do. And so didn't want to sugarcoat it with you, but just wanted to give you an opportunity to do something special. You said, this is what you want to do. Okay, here's the blueprint. This is what you're gonna have to do, and this is sacrifices that you're gonna have to do.
As I was listening to Brandon speak, it's good to see the mentor reflect on the mentee, and the mentee reflects on the mentor, and you both are successful, and it had a lot to do with you. And so it's good to see that fruit. And you can say, hey man, I can, my fruit is over here, Brandon, and I can tell you, Brandon's doing his thing. And so that's good to see. And so here's my segue. I don't mean to segue because I know we only have a few minutes. I know everybody's asking questions, but my question for you, what's going to happen with sports this year? Is it going to happen, or what's Scott going to do about sports? I know everybody was thinking about it.
That's a great question.
I'm just curious to know. I'm sorry, fellas. I'm sorry, but I'm curious to know
No,
what sports.
that's good.
No, that's real good, man.
Chris, that's
I'm sorry, fellas.
hey, that's the $100 million question.
I know we was talking academics and everything. I said, I know we want to talk about sports. So y'all kept saying football, basketball, going to the pros.
Yeah.
What's going on, man? Talk to me.
Right now, we don't have anything. We haven't heard anything from the Ohio High School Athletic Association. In fact, I was on a conference call last week and I inquired about that question, and I didn't. We don't know yet. So we are still waiting to see what the Ohio High School Athletic Association. This is something else that I have been monitoring very closely. In fact, I just saw today that the state of Virginia has decided to cancel their or postpone the football season, move it back a little bit. I don't know if they're going to try it in the spring or what have you. So I don't know. I mean, that's just one of those things, Chris. It's just one of those uncertainties. I really can't answer that question.
So is it more? And I know we've heard from like NBA, NFL. Is it more of the contact sports? I know they were saying something on 13 ABC News. They were saying like tennis, golf,
cross country, cross country,
not touching each other.
Right.
Just curious to know, even with the parents, coming into the gyms and what, so I know you don't have the answer for that. If you were over OSHA, what would you try to? I know this is a question.
Oh, Chris, man. Yeah. So you're gonna shoot me with the loaded question right there. If I was over OSHA. Let me hold on, Chris. Hey, Chris, hold up. Hey, Chris. If you was over, what would you do?
Exactly.
You ready for this?
What would you do? Yeah.
Hey, you ready for this?
Is that what it did?
Hey, I was black out. It's black the whole thing. Yeah. I'm like, I'm having difficulties. I'm freezing. So I guess we want it so bad, but I know
we do.
It's an incentive for these kids to do well in school because they're not athletes, they're student athletes. And I know it's an incentive, especially for these seniors. My son's an incoming freshman. Rob has a sophomore, and so these kids are in high school, these kids are in junior high and elementary. They want to be a part of sports, and their summer was already taken from them. The end of last year was taken from them. So, it's an incentive for some kids. Like I heard Evander Holyfield talking today with Mike Tyson in an interview. He said all he had was sports, and some of these kids, listen, can I be real with you? Some kids, their only father figure is the coach. So
right. Oh yeah.
It's the real thing. It's not it's just sports. No, man, it's more for some people.
Right. Absolutely. It is, and it's a tough call to make because my son, he's going to be at high school. So and he's playing football. So and I told him, I said, look, if that comes up, just understand it's a possibility that may come up, that we may not have a season. But I'm a safety first guy, and I've always have been. So it's about safety first, and that's the way I operate my building to safety first. And we want to make sure that we're safe if it's up to me. So to answer your question, if I was over OSHA,
Safety first.
For sure.
That's good.
I think this is a very important time too, to again expose, and this is work in the community because Chris, you made a very good point. Sometimes that's the only outlet for that kid, or that may be their only way out. But I think this is a very important time for us, especially as a community, to come together. Like I see some great stuff going on in the community right now. People have really got even more creative and exposed. Yeah, they stepped up, and they're they're exposing a lot of young people to things they probably would not have been exposed to if things were going as normal.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So this is in us just segueing into this real quick. Like this is like this year would have been the 18th year of my football camp, and this was something for kids to do. And then originally we had canceled it because of the COVID trying to be safe here. And then I got a call. It's like, look, Doc, do something online, and it kind of hit me. I was like, wow, what if we do a virtual football camp? So this year we're going to do a virtual football camp. Yep. And that's going to start. So it'll still be boys 3rd through 8th grade, but that's going to start July 27th through July 31st. So what we did was basically we took the camp and we condensed it to like about 35, 40 minutes for like 5 days. And so we have the homework, we have, because we always do homework at our camp because that's part of being a student/athlete, right? And so we trying to do our best to assimilate that as closely as possible because every kid said they want to play high school, they want to play college. And if we don't do this work, then all of that is for nothing. So what we do is each day, typically we do work. We have based off the word of the day, motivational speakers, and then we out on the field. This year, it'll be the homework. We'll have updates. We'll have the motivational speakers. We'll have a position, and then we'll have a closing. But this is something that kids can do at home or at the park with friends on a laptop, on a tablet, on their cell phones. They can have a couple people they can, if they don't have pads, they can use shoe boxes or whatever the case may be. But it's to get kids engaged and to get them out moving and having fun playing football.
Yes, sir. That's great.
Real quick, you can go and you can register. You can go to my page and you can register online at drcarnellsmith.com. That's drcarnellsmith.com, CARNEL. That's one word, drcarnellsmith.com.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, I got my son registered, so I'm excited about it.
All right, great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so we're looking forward to that. Like I said, now when you said this creativity, so next year when we're back doing it in person, we'll still do a virtual. We'll do a virtual aspect of it. And seeing what we think about virtual, I'm thinking worldwide when I think virtual because it's on those type of platforms. I'm thinking worldwide. So now this camp is going to be touching kids around the world. We've had children come typically every year from North Carolina, Texas, Michigan, Indiana, Columbus, every year, and they usually schedule their vacation to Toledo around the 3rd week of June so those youngsters can get to the camp. So people who participate in the camp not necessarily doesn't mean that you're a football player, you got to be a football player. We got kids, and the kids that you'll see me working with on the camp, one of them is 4th year, another one is 3rd year, and 2 more is 1st year. They've never played football before and don't have any intentions, but they are at the camp because it's an enrichment for young men into their adolescence and into adulthood.
Powerful.
Definitely. Always got to incorporate the education.
Absolutely.
Is the camp free or do it cost?
Absolutely. My camp is always free to the kids, to the community. No one get paid. It's all volunteers, and we've done this camp. Brandon used to come. Well, Brandon came back last year.
Yep.
And came with his boys, because Brandon used to do it. Participate in the camp when he was in college. He was one of the coaches, one of the counselors out there, all while he was in college. Yeah.
Okay. That's good stuff, man. That's good.
That's dope.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's going to be a really cool camp. It's something different. It's something outside of the box. Each day camp will begin at 11 a.m. and it'll run Monday through Friday.
That's good stuff, man.
That
We're
is good.
blessed to have you in this community, man. We really are.
Man, this is my home, man. It's a blessing for me too.
Nah. You get people
And,
out, you get far like you smell them, man. We telling you, we blessed to have you, man. For
I
sure.
appreciate it,
Cause they don't
fellas.
talk about that, man. They don't talk about this. They never talk about the youth doing this.
Yeah, well, you know what, man? You know, Clarence, I got an assignment, and God gave me an assignment to do, and he told me to serve. He told me to serve my community. He told me to educate my children. He told me to help my teachers so they can educate my children. So that's the plan. That's what I'm doing. So
Yes, sir.
continue to do.
So that's why we're doing what we're doing, because we do want to highlight folks like yourself and continue to, because you are doing some awesome things. And, I know for years upon years upon years, your mentees are going to keep coming back to you and saying, thank you. Thank you.
It's a blessing, man. We've been doing the camp so long. Now we got second generations bringing their kids, like kids who were in the camp at early years ago, like they're bringing their kids to the camp now. Yeah, so
Wow.
that is pretty cool to see.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, that is a huge deal, man. Clarence, you just don't know how much that warmed my heart, man.
Yes, sir.
It warms my heart when I see that. And that happened last year, for the past 2 years, last year and the year before.
Awesome.
Got longevity here.
So Dr. Carnell Smith, principal of Jessup W. Scott High School,
Yes, indeed.
also public figure.
I appreciate that.
I'm surprised Brandon didn't say
awesome
the
in the
high school.
What's that?
Oh,
I'm surprised Brandon didn't say the.
Hey, tell him, Brandon, we don't even gotta. Hey, Brandon, tell him we ain't even gotta say that.
We gotta say it.
He said he ain't even gotta say it.
We ain't even gotta say that. Just say 2400.
2400 Collingwood. That's it.
You ain't even gotta say Collingwood. Just say
2400. Huh?
Hey,
just 2400.
I know we got a bunch.
Hey,
We got a
Brandon,
bunch
go
of
ahead,
Bulldogs representing tonight, Chris.
How y'all do the
Yeah.
market?
The Bulldogs is representing tonight.
Hell, always. You always surrounded by us.
Hey.
My dad was a graduate of 71. My dad was.
Okay. All right. What happened to you?
Hey, look. There it go.
Oh, there you go. I was gonna guess it.
Don't guess. Don't guess. All right, the show is over.
Hey.
All right.
Dr. Smith, we appreciate you coming
Hey,
on.
fellas, I had a great time, man. Anytime you guys want me back, I'll be more than happy. I enjoyed the dialogue.
Yes, sir. We're going to talk some more football when you come back, too.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I love some football now. We can talk football all day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
We
sir.
can talk education, absolutely.
Fellas, you got anything you want to wrap up with?
No, just go. Oh, you said me?
You or
Go
anybody?
ahead and start. Yep.
Oh, I guess
go register at drcarnellsmith.com. drcarnellsmith.com and register your kid.
Okay.
That's powerful. I guess I would say, being in the educational field and have a passion for youth, I want any youth that's watching, man, to really plug in to the platform that was provided on here, because this is an awesome thing. And now that you have the information, all parents, man, look, it's free. There's no excuses. Your kids need it. You know what I'm saying? It's a plug in the community that's saving so many generations right now. So thank you once again. That's all I got.
Definitely. And you already know how I feel about you, Coach Smith.
Oh, man, right here, baby.
Nothing but love, man.
Right
Always
here,
love, man.
right here.
And I appreciate all of what you've done in the community. You've been, man, so influential, a visionary for a lot of kids to look up to. For me personally, young adults, like, older adults now, but young adults is looking up to you. They got somebody to look up to right there in the high school, man. So kudos to you, man. And you keep doing what you're doing, man, because you're doing awesome.
Thank you, Brandon. Hey, I love you. You know that. I appreciate
Definitely.
As we had this conversation, as you say, Dr. Smith, this dialogue that we shared, man, it was rich because, and for me, it was very rich from the standpoint that you did something really big and you never forgot your community. And you your mouth was. Not only your money, but your resources, your time, your skill, your talent. You came back to Toledo, and that's huge. A lot of people don't do that, and so it really exposes your heart. And Scott has a jewel over there, man. And I remember coming over there to see the things that you're doing in the community. I think it was a Saturday where my uncle came over, and we all came over, and we sat there and heard you and your staff. I think we was having some technical difficulties a little bit with the PowerPoint, but
Right.
You all, man, just the stuff that you guys do. So again, give you flowers while you can still smell them, man. You can't change your past. You talk about your future, but you live in your present. And living in your present, man, you have really transcended Scott High School, man. It's not good, but it's great, and we appreciate you. I'm hearing great things over there. What's nice about this platform that it's been recorded. People can always go back to it. But even after this conversation, you'll be hearing from me, Dr. Smith.
Okay.
I'll probably ask you my number. I want to help out.
Please do.
I can, man.
Okay.
Over there for sure.
Same.
I look forward to it,
Same
Chris.
here,
Yes.
man. Because mentoring, man, is a way for us to give back, man. And you know, a lot of the viewers that's out there watching too. We got to give back. We got to give back to the community. It's time for us to do it. It's time to give our knowledge to the youth, and to where we can stop this this trend, the young man going down the bad road. You know,
Right.
Let's be the people that can actually be there to actually show them the right way, just like Coach Smith showed us. You know, show them the right way, so that way we can stop this trend, man, and we can do great things.
Brandon, that's good stuff, man, for sure. That was good.
Absolutely.
And I'll wrap it up here real quick. I don't even know if Dr. Smith knows this, but I met him through his wife at my past church.
Yeah.
From the moment I met him, and you talked about this mentoring and influencing people, even in your later years.
Yeah.
You know, the gentleman that you were, the way you carried yourself spoke volumes to me, man. And you just don't know anybody on here. You don't know how you influence people and impact their life. And you don't have to be in it every second, but some people watch you from afar. And I've done that over the years, sir. And you've always been someone I've looked up to, and you carried yourself accordingly, and I appreciate you for that. And you have definitely influenced me in a lot of ways that you don't even know.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Thank you.
For sure.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Thank you.
So appreciate you again. Oh, definitely.
That. Thank you.
So definitely, again, we appreciate you and we love you for all that you're doing at Scott High School and in the community. And we'll see you at camp.
Absolutely. Yes, indeed. A beautiful camp. It's going to be an outstanding camp.
Awesome.
It is. It is going to be a cool camp.
We'll put the link on our page too. We'll put the link on our page.
Thank you.
Yes.
And have their kids join up. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, ManUP Life 419. And we'll see you next week. And same time, same bat channel. We'll be back.
Right.
All right.
Thank you, fellas.
Thank Dr. Smith.
Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate you guys.
You're hearing from me soon, man. I'm going to send something to you right now.
Peace and blessings.
Okay,
Peace and
thanks,
blessings.
Chris.
Yep.